The anime begins with the main character, Toru Kokonoe, recalling a tragic event in which he lost his younger sister and friends due to an attack by an unknown assailant. This event motivated him to enroll in an academy where students are trained in the art of blaze, the ability to manifest their soul as a weapon. The scene shifts to the academy, where the newcomers are gathered for the entrance ceremony. During this ceremony, they are told that they must demonstrate their abilities by fighting a partner. A mysterious and beautiful silver-haired girl named Julie Sigtuna becomes a central figure for Toru. During the battle, Toru discovers that his blaze is not a weapon like the others, but a shield. This unusual phenomenon catches the attention of the Academy's administration. Despite his confusion and inner doubts, Toru defeats his opponent. After the battle, the students are paired up for living and training together. Toru is paired with Julie. He reluctantly goes to their shared room and, feeling shy, opens the door. Upon entering, he sees Julie in her pajamas. Toru feels awkward and asks her to get dressed. Julie turns out to be quiet, but very observant and intuitive. They begin to get to know each other, discussing their goals and motivations. Toru learns that Julie also has her reasons for joining the academy, but she does not reveal them right away. They both decide that despite their differences, they will work together and support each other to achieve their goals. Julie falls asleep on Toru's lap, and he gently picks her up and carries her to bed. Thus ends their first day at the academy. Toru wakes up and finds Julie sleeping next to him in the same bed, not understanding how it happened. Together, they go to breakfast. During breakfast, Julie says she is completely satisfied with his support from the previous night. After breakfast, the students gather for classes where they are given more explanations about the blaze system and how it works. In the following class, the students are informed about an upcoming test that will evaluate their abilities and synchronization with their partner. Toru and Julie decide to train hard to prepare for this test. The instructor, an unusually strict woman named Sakuya Sakaki, demonstrates impressive skills and immediately sets high standards for the students. During practical combat training, a girl approaches Toru and kneels to apologize for the misunderstanding at breakfast. Tomoya and Julie decide to train together, demonstrating a high level of skill. Many students begin to admire their abilities. Toru notices Julie's technique and her ability to use her skills effectively. In the evening, they have a conversation where Julie reveals that she is self-taught. Their training sessions are intense but productive, and they start to better understand and complement each other in battle. Toru decides to wait for Julie after training and asks her who she wants to be partnered with. Julie says she had wanted to propose a partnership with Tomoe. That night, Toru wakes up again and notices Julie next to him, seeing that she looks sad in her sleep. The next day, the sign-ups for partnership training begin, and Toru learns from Tachibana that Julie is left without a partner. Toru decides to find Julie and form a permanent duo with her. Julie hesitates at first but happily agrees to the proposal. Toru and Julie return to their room, where they continue discussing their strategies and plans for the future. Their determination grows even stronger as they prepare for the upcoming challenges at the academy. In class, Sakuya Sakaki announces that today there will be a skills test, and the students will be fighting in pairs. This news causes excitement among the students, as everyone understands that this is an important step in their training. Toru and Julie are ready, but at the same time they feel nervous. Toru and Julie continue to prepare for the upcoming synchronization test. They train diligently, honing their skills and strengthening their partnership. Julie teaches Toru a few techniques. Toru starts to notice progress in their interaction, which boosts his confidence. In his sleep, Toru sees the tragic event when he lost his loved ones due to an attack by an unknown assailant. He wakes up abruptly and Julie notices it. During the first round of fights, Toru observes other pairs, noticing how some students start to panic or lose concentration. This strengthens his resolve to demonstrate his abilities and protect Julie. When their turn comes, Toru and Julie perform confidently, using their skills and tactics honed during training. Toru uses his shield to protect Julie while she attacks. Their synchronization improves, and they quickly defeat their opponents. At the end, they face off against Tachibana and Miyabi. The fight is very intense, but Toru and Julie emerge victorious. After the fight, Toru and Julie notice two injured students being attacked by their teacher, Rito. During the battle, Rito explains that blaze weapons can cause serious injuries. The battle is very challenging, but Toru ultimately wins. Back in their room, they discuss their performances and analyze what can be improved. They realize that their bond is only growing stronger, which inspires them for further training. Toru feels pain from the injuries sustained in the battle with the teacher. Julie decides to help him, but accidentally falls on him. At that moment, their friends walk into the room. At night, Toru has a nightmare and Julie notices it. She starts asking him about it. Julie shows a scar on her body and says that they have similar goals. The morning begins with Toru waking up and accidentally touching Julie's chest. He apologizes to her for the misunderstanding. Toru and Julie go to their classes together, where they encounter the students who were attacked by the teacher, Rito. They are surprised when Rito shows up for the lesson. A tense dialogue ensues, but the principal intervenes and explains why she decided to bring Rito back. The principal explains that Rito was returned to fulfill the academy's main task, to find the absolute duo at any cost. She also announces a new ascension ceremony. During the lesson, a girl who transferred from another department, Lilith Bristol, comes into the classroom. She takes Toru aside for a private conversation. During the conversation, Lilith tells Toru that he must now be in a duo with her. She explains that she is also an exception and wants to form a powerful duo, even transferring to their academy for this purpose. However, Toru declines her offer. Toru and Julie decide to take a break from their constant training and go shopping together to pick out some clothes. During their outing, their friends decide to follow them to ensure that their time together doesn't get out of hand. While they are being watched, a group of boys starts to bother them. Toru notices this and steps in to protect them. During the altercation, Lilith appears and demonstrates her unusual blaze, a rifle which she uses to quickly resolve the conflict. Toru is very surprised by her unique blaze. The group decides to continue their outing and choose a suitable swimsuit. Julie opens the changing room curtain, causing Toru to turn very red. And so their day passes. The next day begins with a discussion about Lilith's blaze, its complex structure, and why it is exceptional. The students undergo the ascension ceremony to the second level, which grants them significant power. The students test their new abilities in the swimming pool. Hotaka decides to thank Toru for his support, and Tachibana and the teacher Rito join their conversation. They discuss the ascension when Julie jumps into the pool with everyone, but turns out she can't swim. Toru jumps in after Julie and saves her. On the way home, Toru and Julie encounter Lilith. Toru decides to question Lilith, but she promises to give answers only if Toru goes with her. They spend a wonderful time together, and Lilith tells Toru about her childhood and how weapons can save lives. At the end of the day, Toru and Lilith have a conversation in which she confesses that he is special to her. Lilith still hasn't given up on forming a duo with Toru. Her blaze is designed for defeating enemies, while Toru's weapon is for protection. Lilith again proposes becoming a duo, but Toru refuses. Toru returns to the dormitory late, which is already closed, but he is met by Julie. He apologizes to her for spending the evening with Lilith and explains that Lilith proposed a duo, but he refused. Julie thanks him for choosing her. During their lessons, they are informed about an upcoming difficult battle with very experienced students. Lilith decides to start the fight right away, alone, on behalf of all the freshmen. After defeating all the opponents, she disrupts the director's plans and proposes fighting her classmates. The students try to stop Lilith, but they fail. Toru promises to fight Lilith with all his strength in exchange for her friendship. Lilith, being a much stronger opponent, is several levels above them and has planned everything in advance. She moves on to fight other students while Toru's team strategizes. They confront Lilith again, but once more they are unable to defeat her. Lilith lands a powerful blow on Julie, who is saved by Tachibana. They decide to retreat and discuss their plan. Julie worries that if Toru learns how strong Lilith truly is, he might abandon her. Toru reassures her that this will not happen. Their conversation is interrupted by Lilith, and the battle begins. During the fight, Lilith thinks she has won, but she is mistaken. Toru ultimately triumphs. Their conversation is abruptly interrupted by a group of specialized agents who injure Toru's arm. They demand that Lilith come with them, and when she refuses, they wound her as well. Toru's friends try to protect her, but they fail. Lilith agrees to go with the agents to prevent further harm. Toru declares that he will not let them take Lilith, and despite being shot at, he uses his powerful attack to save Lilith. Together they launch a combined strike to defeat the enemies. After the battle, Lilith proposes a one-on-one duel with Toru, and he agrees. One of the attackers survives and reports back to their superiors. Following the battle, Toru is severely injured and ends up in the hospital. Lilith visits him, apologizes to their classmates, and kisses Toru on the cheek. Hotaka, while taking a shower, reflects on her inability to help during the attack, and Tachibana offers her support. The students embark on a summer camp trip aboard a ship. Julie suffers from seasickness, and Toru takes care of her. The students are informed that the ship will go no further and they must swim to the island on their own. They are dropped into open water. Toru swims with Julie, significantly lagging behind the others. Lilith arrives in a helicopter, jumps into the water, and asks Toru if he missed his future wife. They reach the island, and Lilith attempts to kiss Toru but is unsuccessful. Miyabi feels useless and a hindrance in her duet with Tomo. On the island, the students are attacked by ninjas and must defend themselves. Lilith doesn't notice a flying dagger, but Julie saves her. They decide to fight the ninjas together, with Julie cutting down the forest. After the battle, they discover they were fighting other students who failed the entrance exam initially. They enjoy a pleasant evening and drink to their new acquaintances. Toru decides to thank the director for her kindness, but receives a cold response. The director emphasizes that her primary goal is to find the absolute duo at any cost. Hotaka admits that she only managed to cope thanks to Toru, and realizes she is now in love with him. An unknown group continues to monitor the director and creates a very dangerous weapon prototype. They are missing one crucial component for their plan. The day ends with the arriving students setting up tents. Julie gives Toru her panties so she won't lose them again, leaving them both feeling embarrassed. The morning begins with Toru waking up next to Lilith and Julie, who are both sleeping without clothes. Tachibana sees this and calls Kokonoe a pervert. She then apologizes to Toru for the misunderstanding. Hotaka realizes she is in love with Toru and is very happy. She invites Toru to spend time at the beach the next day, and he agrees. Many girls come to the beach and ask him to judge their new swimsuits. They have a great time together. Julie tries to learn to swim but struggles to make progress. Everyone notices that Miyabi is acting strangely. Toru decides to visit the hot springs and overhears the girls behind a rock discussing their sizes, which makes him uncomfortable. They talk about how Miyabi likes Toru, and Imari suggests that Miyabi should confess her feelings. Miyabi twists her ankle, and Toru carries her on his back. She confesses her feelings for him, but Toru gently rejects her, causing Miyabi to run away in tears. Meanwhile, the director and Lilith discuss a plan in which the director and the students will act as bait to find the absolute duo. That night, the students are attacked by rebels. The students attempt to fend off the rebel attack, but the enemies have become stronger. The director gives Rito a powerful serum to aid the students. Rito reveals her true strength by fully utilizing her mark, killing all the rebels. Toru notices that Rito has become much more powerful. Another group of rebels attacks the academy, but other students manage to repel the assault. Some rebels infiltrate the director's office to capture her, but Lilith stands in their way to protect her. The students split up to search for Miyabi and to assist Director Sakuya. Toru and Julie attempt to stop the rebel leader, who proves to be a formidable opponent. The rebel leader is wearing the impenetrable armor of the Forge Master. He nearly defeats Toru and Julie, but Julie, recalling her past, gains extraordinary strength and almost wins the battle. However, she quickly loses her strength. The rebel leader receives orders to retreat, warning that his next encounter with Toru will be their last. Sakuya receives an invitation to a meeting. Julie shares her past and the story behind the scar on her back with Toru, explaining why she came to the academy. Toru offers his support. The Forge Master takes Miyabi with him, promising her unmatched power. The summer camp comes to an end as announced by the teacher, but Miyabi is nowhere to be found. Some students want to stay and search for her, but they are forbidden to do so. Imari vows to do everything she can to find Miyabi, and they return to the ship. Several days pass and the students continue their training, but there is still no news about Miyabi. This lack of information affects their training sessions. Tachibana, while taking a shower, reflects on Miyabi's disappearance. Toru has another nightmare in which he fails to protect Miyabi. Julie notices and decides to comfort him with a hug. The director rewards Toru with a serum for his bravery, but he refuses to use it and takes it with him instead. The students are forbidden to leave the school grounds and a guard of trained students is put in place. Toru asks Lilith about meeting the Forge Master, and she tells him everything about the search for the Absolute Duo, and that all the elite members will gather at the academy today. During the meeting, they are offered an alliance, but Director Sakuya refuses, putting the Forge Master in an awkward position. The Forge Master proposes a survival game, and Sakuya agrees. 10 minutes later, the rebels attack. In the attack, Miyabi appears with unmatched strength, showcasing her newfound power to Toru. She attacks him, but Julie intervenes and saves him. Students activate their Blaze, who is now wearing incredible armor that grants her limitless power. Her Blaze can cause injuries, and the students realize that her memory has been erased. The Forge Master offers Sakuya a chance to admit defeat, but she refuses. Miyabi attacks Toru again, declaring that she became strong for him, and that no one will stop her. The leader of the rebels goes after Director Sakuya. Tachibana asks to be left alone with Miyabi, trying to persuade her to remove the armor that gives her extraordinary strength. Miyabi insists that it was her own choice to gain this power. Tachibana argues that her strength is misguided, and that Toru would not approve of it. She assures Miyabi that she will always be by her side, and encourages her to believe in herself. Tachibana successfully restores Miyabi's memory. Meanwhile, Toru and Julie confront Kevin, engaging in a difficult battle. Toru protects Julie and eventually uses the serum given to him by the director, which grants him increased power. He manages to defeat Kevin. The Forge Master acknowledges defeat, and the council disperses. The Forge Master originally intended for Kevin to eliminate everyone, but Kevin turns on him and kills him instead, seizing the most powerful armor for himself. The students believe they have triumphed, but then Kevin appears wielding the Forge Master's most powerful weapon. In the ensuing battle, Kevin easily overpowers them. With one shot, he destroys part of the academy. His second shot is aimed at the dormitory full of students, but Rito sacrifices herself to save them. Toru sustains a fatal injury while protecting Julie. Seeing this, Julie unleashes her full power, fighting with all her might. Inspired by her bravery, Toru manages to stand and continue fighting to protect her. In her emotional state, Julie mistakenly attacks Toru, but he embraces her, taking another injury to calm her down and help her regain control. Kevin then launches his most powerful attack. Toru and Julie join forces to repel it, and together they finally defeat Kevin. Toru undergoes treatment in the hospital, and upon his recovery, he learns from Lilith that Julie has been discharged. He finds Julie at the tower where they first formed their duo. There, Julie shares more about her past and her uncontrollable power. Toru apologizes for not being able to protect her. They reaffirm their bond by forming an eternal contract.